Bells ring before sunrise, where you step into a cold street that smells like bread and smoke. You begin to notice the candles glowing in doorways as people pull on cloaks and head to church. Advent's fasting is done, and from this morning on, the rules loosen. Food, songs, games, visits, day after day. If you've got the energy, the party runs from Christmas to Twelfth Night. First, church. In many places, there were 3 Christmas services, one at midnight, one at dawn, and one during the day. Families shuffled in by lantern light. You smelled wax and pine. You heard Latin words, but you also heard familiar carols in the local language outside the doors. The service ended, and the feast season began. What did feast season mean? It meant bread warm from the oven, meat saved especially for these days, and drink enough to make stories longer and jokes funnier. Most people planned ahead. In late autumn, a pig was butchered and the meat salted or smoked. Hams, bacon, sausages, and black pudding waited in cool rooms. If a lord ruled the area, he was expected to give his tenants time off from work and at least one good meal. In towns, guilds hosted dinners. In big halls, nobles went bigger. Beef, mutton, goose, fish, pies, custards, tarts, nuts, and sweet treats. Spiced cider and ale for common tables, wine for richer ones. Drinking mattered as much as eating. A warm cup made the winter feel kind. Food was not the only joy. The house itself changed. People brought in green life, holly, ivy, rosemary, and sometimes a big log for the hearth that burned for days. You might see candles in windows, a small crib scene near the altar at church, and ribbons on doorways. The point was simple: light and green in the darkest time of year. Games and dress-up filled the afternoons. In villages, you might meet mummers, neighbors in masks and costumes, singing and joking from door to door. Some wore animal heads. Some pretended to be someone else for a day. They performed a little play, collected coins or food, and moved on. In some regions, there was a tradition of role reversal. The quiet person became the leader for an evening. The stern person had to take a joke. Laughter was part of the season. Music was everywhere. Carols weren't only for choirs. Children sang in lanes. Friends sang at tables. Fiddles and pipes came out in warm rooms. If you had no instrument, you had a voice and a steady beat on the table. Dance circles formed after supper. Even people with sore feet clapped along. Charity also mattered. Christmas was a time to share. Churches and town leaders urged the well-off to give food, fuel, or coins to the poor. Inns put out extra bread. Monasteries served travelers and handed out bowls of pottage at the gate. In some places, masters gave servants new clothing or a small gift. A good Christmas had enough joy to spill over. The 12 days had their own rhythm. Day 1 was Christmas Day, church, and the biggest feast. The days that followed felt like a rolling holiday. Visits to friends and kin, small gifts, games by the fire, and more church on special saints' days. New Year's brought toasts and wishes for luck. Somewhere in the middle, churches held playful events where lower-ranking clergy led songs or readings for a short while. It was a short break from strict order. Then, everyone went back to normal. At the same time, people loved signs. The 12 days were thought to hint at the year ahead. Clear skies on Christmas might mean a gentle spring. Wild wind on the day could warn of a rough year for the powerful. Some families watched the weather each day and made little notes. It was a way of feeling close to time itself, asking the season to whisper what comes next. Let's visit 3 houses to make this real. First, a peasant cottage. After church at dawn, the family returns to a fire that has been kept alive all night. Mother slices bread. Father warms ale with spices. There is pork saved for today and a small honeyed tart the children have been begging to taste. A neighbor knocks with a jug and a laugh. They trade slices and stories. In the afternoon, older kids join mummers who roam the lane, singing and acting out a silly fight that ends with a cheer. Next, a town home over a shop. The guild has decorated the church with greenery and candles. After service, the baker hosts a table, pies, fish brought in from the river, and an almond custard that wobbles when you tap it. Musicians play in the corner. Friends swap small gifts, ribbons, gloves, a new spoon with a carved handle. Later, the same group heads into the street to sing. Coins drop into a dish for the poor. Finally, a noble hall. Tapestries keep out the draft. Long boards shine with wax. Servants carry in a boar's head or a great roast as a showpiece. There are swans or peacocks for display in some places, more for show than for eating. Wine flows. A household poet recites a praise poem. After the meal, there are games, riddles, dice, and a round of forfeits where losers must do a funny task. The Lord hands out cloaks and coins to the household and gifts to guests. A fool cracks safe jokes at the master's expense. This is the season when even the proud must smile. All of this led toward Twelfth Night, the last and liveliest evening on January 5th. Many places baked a rich cake with a tiny bean hidden inside. When the cake was served, the person who found the bean in their slice became the king or queen for the night, the lord or lady of Misrule. They could assign playful penalties, sing a song in a silly voice, dance on the bench, tell a joke, wear a paper crown. It was make-believe power that let everyone relax before work returned. The next day, on January 6th, the season ended with the Feast of Epiphany, marking the visit of the Magi. In some towns, children wore crowns and carried a star on a pole to remember the story. Not every place celebrated the same way. Customs changed by region. In Italy, there were lively markets and sweet breads. In France, special galettes. In England, more mumming and boar's head pageantry. In Germany, star singers and chalk blessings over doors. Rich houses went large. Poor houses kept things simple but warm. But the shared idea stayed the same: light in the dark, food after fasting, and community after waiting. Speaking of fasting, Advent mattered. For weeks before Christmas, people ate plainer food. Meat and rich dishes were reduced or avoided. The point was to prepare the heart by training the body. When Christmas arrived, the joy felt bigger because you had been holding back. The season was not just a blowout, it was a release. Let's zoom in on decorations. Greenery made rooms feel alive. Holly with its red berries, ivy twisting around beams, rosemary for scent. In big houses, you might see painted screens and candles everywhere. In modest homes, a bunch of herbs tied with ribbon was enough to make the air feel fresh. Children loved the sparkle of candlelight on a cold night. It made even a plain room look like a story. And the sounds: bells, carols, laughter, clatter of cups, the snap of a log, a dog thumping its tail under the table. These sounds drew people together. A winter village could be lonely. 12 days of open doors made it feel like one big household. Work slowed, but did not stop completely. Animals still needed feeding. Fires still needed tending. Cooks still stirred pots, and bakers still watched ovens. But the everyday rush gave way to something kinder. Even officials and priests, after their duties, sat and ate with neighbors. Peace was the goal. Make amends, share, forgive. Now, the flip side. The Middle Ages were not spotless parties. Streets could be muddy. Some games got too wild. Sometimes crowds went too far. Church leaders scolded people who turned worship into noise. Town rules tried to keep order. But the answer was not to ban joy. The answer was to keep joy pointed toward good, hospitality, care, and thanks. Let's walk through one full Christmas day. Before dawn, bells and church. Morning, bread, meat reserved for the day. Hot drinks and gifts if you could afford them. Midday, visits, music, and games. Afternoon, a nap by the fire or a walk to a neighbor's table. By evening, there was more singing, a story from an elder, and a blessing at the door. When you went to bed, your clothes smelled like smoke and spices, and your ears still held songs. But what about kids? Well, they were everywhere, peeking at pies, stealing bits of sugared almond, banging on the table in rhythm, and wearing paper crowns that kept sliding over their eyes. They memorized the season by taste and sound, not dates. As adults, they tried to give their own children the same small wonders: a warm slice of something sweet, a game by candlelight, a simple gift that felt huge. And yes, people looked for signs in the 12 days: storms, clear skies, red sunsets. Was it science? No, it was hope in a pattern. It was a way to tell yourself the year would be kind if you were kind too. By Twelfth Night, the feast season had one last sparkle. The bean cake came out. The Lord or Lady of Misrule gave silly orders. The room laughed and obeyed. The final songs felt both happy and a little sad. Tomorrow, work returned, fields waited, shops opened, journeys began. But the season had done its job. It had refilled the town with warmth. Step back and ask, what was medieval Christmas really about? Not Santa, not trees lit with wires. It was about time and balance. Fast, then feast. Dark, then light. Waiting, then welcome. It was the promise that even in the coldest stretch of the year, people could make a pocket of joy with food, music, and mercy. End with a picture. Night again. Candles fade. A mother tucks a child under a heavy blanket. A father adds one last log to the fire. Outside, frost silvers the lane. Inside, someone sets a small cake tin on the shelf for next year, folds a paper crown, and hums the last verse of a carol. The 12 days are over. The warmth they made lingers. And that's how Christmas felt in the Middle Ages. Human, hopeful, and bright against the dark.